the Duke of Sussex's needless legal action against the world's most read newspaper, the Daily Mail.
I don't think that we can ever have peace with my family unless the truth is out.
London woke to shock and whispers on the morning of March 4th, 2026, as Buckingham Palace shattered Prince Harry's last illusions of financial leverage with a scathing, ice-cold declaration. Only hours after receiving a jaw-dropping $59 million legal demand from Harry's California-based attorneys, King Charles III finally broke his weeks-long silence. The bombshell was delivered straight after the King concluded an exhausting schedule at Northwood Permanent Joint Headquarters, a venue chosen with deliberate distance, keeping him far from the epicenter of Harry's London courtroom chaos. Charles did not mince words. He called Harry's legal crusade what it truly is, a suicide mission. The monarchy, he emphasized, has no responsibility, no obligation, and absolutely zero intention of covering a single penny of debts stemming from Harry's personal vendettas or reckless stubbornness. Suing the press is a fatal error. I warned him long ago. Those who leap into the flames cannot expect others to pay for their burns, the King's statement declared, its tone clinical and final. This wasn't just a financial rejection, it was the complete severance of Harry from the sovereign grant. Harry's blatant attempt to redirect millions of pounds onto his father, all under the guise of defending royal honour, had been utterly dismissed. Tensions hit a fever pitch the night before, March 3rd, as Harry struggled under the weight of mounting debts and the collapse of his privacy lawsuit against Associated Newspapers Limited, A&L, the publishers of the Daily Mail and Mail on Sunday. Harry argued that he alone had the courage to defend the monarchy's reputation and that as a result, Charles should foot the entire bill. Adding to the drama, Harry claimed that the royal family's past silence forced him to spend his personal fortune pursuing justice. But when the palace opened the $59 million invoice the next morning, the details were absurd beyond imagination. Internal sources from the royal treasury described charges that went far beyond normal legal fees, reaching levels of audacious self-valuation rarely seen in royal history. The breakdown read like a tabloid fever dream: $15 million for David Sherborne's legal team, $12 million in contingency funds to cover potential damages to the newspapers, $5 million for private security during London stays, and a staggering $10 million honour restoration fee that Harry apparently assigned to himself for his personal efforts. And if that wasn't enough, there was a $17 million line item for opportunity, cost, and income compensation for having to abandon US-based projects to focus on the UK trial. In total, $59 million. Meanwhile, the privacy lawsuit entered an official self-destruct phase at the Royal Courts of Justice, spiralling into a public spectacle of legal and financial ruin. Harry's once confident public proclamations of guaranteed victory had quickly turned into ridicule. Sources report that he lost all control, his rage and humiliation visible as his core evidence crumbled. The reality is harsh. Harry is not winning. He stands precariously on the edge of a legal abyss, with key witnesses flipping against him. Charles's March 4th move was a decisive, lethal blow to Harry's strategy of emotional manipulation. Throughout the court proceedings, Harry sparked controversy with shocking testimony. Yet Charles maintained absolute distance, never offering consent or silent support. Contrary to circulating narratives, Harry even attempted to leak details to US tabloids, further alienating the crown. The King's focus on the Northwood military visit and a busy schedule in Italy sent a clear message: Harry is no longer a priority. But the real bombshell came through Princess Beatrice, who delivered evidence of secret collusion between Harry and Prince Andrew. According to documents, the pair allegedly plotted legal scandals aimed at forcing Charles into financial concessions and restoring privileges stripped by the family. This ultimate betrayal ended Charles's tolerance as a father. Now, Harry remains isolated in the UK, his credibility obliterated following the dramatic testimony of private investigator Gavin Burrows in the US. Business partners are fleeing, and Meghan Markle is reportedly initiating a brand decoupling plan to safeguard her assets from her husband's looming financial disaster. What began as a privacy lawsuit has morphed into a self-inflicted catastrophe, a financial, legal, and reputational suicide that Harry alone is responsible for. The palace's position is unambiguous. The monarchy is not a bailout service for betrayers. The $59 million Harry demands is nothing but meaningless figures on a page. This struggle has moved beyond honor. It's now a matter of survival. Harry gambled, and he lost everything. Inside Courtroom 73, the tension was palpable, charged with an almost electric energy. Harry's multi-million-dollar strategy didn't just falter, it imploded spectacularly. He and his high-profile lawyer, David Sherborne, had pinned their hopes on private investigator Gavin Burrows as the ultimate insider, the smoking gun to bring Daily Mail and Mail on Sunday to their knees. Burrows was meant to expose a decade of alleged illegal tabloid activity, including hacking and blagging. Instead, Burrows became Harry's executioner. In a jaw-dropping sworn statement, he didn't merely retract previous claims, he surgically dismantled them. The supposed core evidence Harry had relied upon to prove unlawful information gathering, completely fabricated. Burrows revealed that documents showing hit lists of Harry's associates and intercepted call logs were intentionally constructed to fit a predetermined narrative. His motives were complex: extreme financial distress, pressure from Harry's own legal circle, and the promise of a book deal plus consultancy fees contingent upon Harry's success. "I was a man looking for a way out," Burrows admitted. "I was told exactly what the truth needed to look like. It wasn't the truth. It was a script." This revelation has left Harry's $50 million case crumbling rapidly. Just 48 hours earlier, the Duke had been seen pacing the royal courts with defiant confidence. Now, witnesses describe him as incandescent with rage, watching as his legal empire collapses around him. Even seasoned royal commentators note that the spectacle is unlike anything seen in modern history. A multi-million-dollar case dissolving before the world's eyes, a prince reduced to a figure of humiliation, with every gamble turned against him. The combination of financial recklessness, legal blunders, and family betrayal has created a storm from which Harry may never recover. Courtroom observers report whispers and gasps with each revelation, the tension thick enough to feel physically. Every legal maneuver, every public statement, and every leaked email has converged to create a perfect storm, exposing the raw reality of a prince at war with himself, his family, and the very institution he once claimed to defend. As the day drew on, it became painfully clear that Harry's legal battles had transformed into a total disaster, a cautionary tale of ambition unchecked, familial missteps, and the cruel inevitability of consequence. His fortunes, reputation, and standing in the eyes of both the public and the monarchy are now in peril like never before. And yet, through all this, one fact remains undeniable. Prince Harry is at the center of a maelstrom of his own making. He insisted on playing, and the fallout has been catastrophic. The atmosphere inside Courtroom 73, once tense, has now reached a level of sheer electric intensity, as the cornerstone of his multi-million-dollar strategy didn't just fail, it imploded entirely. Gavin Burrows' shocking flip, the betrayal revealed by Princess Beatrice, and Charles's unyielding stance have left the Duke facing the harshest reality. Every move he made, every risk he took, every scheme he thought would protect or advance him has turned against him. Observers report that just 48 hours before, Harry had been pacing with defiance. But now he burns with rage, trapped in a legal, financial, and emotional nightmare of his own making. Second, the atmosphere around the Duke's legal booth was electric with tension, as those nearby could see Harry's hands trembling and his expression frozen in a mask of disbelief and humiliation. A man undone in public by the very individual he had once heralded as a brave whistleblower. Gavin Burrows, once a trusted figure in the Duke's inner legal circle, had not only abandoned him, but openly branded him a consumer of fabricated news, a label that hit with the force of a public execution. The repercussions of Burrows' defection were immediate and devastating. stripping Harry's case of its cornerstone witness and leaving the Duke exposed in ways that no one had anticipated. The ramifications of this betrayal went far beyond the courtroom. A&L's legal team, commanded by the formidable Anthony White, seized upon this opportunity to prepare a counterclaim alleging perversion of justice. The stakes could no longer be measured merely in lost prestige or embarrassment. If it emerged that Harry's legal advisors had known, or even harboured strong suspicions that Burroughs' testimony was fabricated, the Duke's situation could escalate into criminal investigations, threatening both his freedom and his finances. The intensity of the unfolding scandal multiplied when Rebecca English, the highly regarded royal editor of the Daily Mail, took the stand. Her testimony was precise, methodical, and devastating to Harry's long-standing claims of espionage. The Duke had long insisted that a 2004 story detailing his romantic relationship with Chelsea Davy, which included intimate details from a campfire conversation in Botswana, could only have been procured through illegal surveillance and phone tapping. English's testimony shattered that illusion. No Bond-style espionage occurred. No covert hacking teams lurked in the shadows. Instead, the private information had been disclosed by one of Harry's so-called loyal friends, who had contacted the newspaper seeking either financial gain or personal favour. The betrayal originated not from technology or criminal operatives, but from within the gilded circle Harry had considered untouchable. The implications for Harry were immediate and profound. His paranoia-driven allegations collided violently with the transactional reality of his social sphere, leaving him appearing isolated, delusional, and dangerously detached from reality. Adding insult to injury were the financial consequences. With Burroughs' testimony discredited, Harry became liable for A&L's legal costs, estimated at more than £10 million, around $12.7 million, a sum far beyond his current means, especially as royalties from Spare and initial Netflix payouts dwindle under the crushing weight of his luxurious lifestyle and ongoing litigation as of March 4th, 2026. This case had evolved beyond questions of privacy. It had become a fight for Harry's remaining credibility, a desperate struggle to salvage his public and private identity. His attorney, David Sherborne, was reportedly operating in a state of total desperation, attempting to defend the remaining 13 disputed articles without Burroughs' foundational testimony. Headlines across the United Kingdom shifted focus, no longer reporting on tabloid excesses, but on the Duke's spectacular implosion in the royal courts of justice. Whispers in Westminster suggested that Harry had finally encountered an adversary capable of matching and exceeding his determination, the very institution he had long criticised. Standing amidst the wreckage of his forged evidence, the Daily Mail emerged not simply as a defendant, but as a victor. The smoking gun Harry had relied upon exploded in his own hands, leaving his reputation, finances, and credibility in tatters. At exactly 9 a.m., a courier arrived at Buckingham Palace, delivering a document destined to become emblematic of the zenith of Prince Harry's legal and financial miscalculations. The acknowledgement of the catastrophic failure of his privacy case and a court-mandated debt exceeding £10 million. Harry's California-based legal team had undertaken an audacious gamble, sending a formal invoice to the keeper of the Privy Purse demanding immediate payment of $59 million from King Charles III. Their justification bordered on the absurd. They argued that the Crown, having allegedly failed to safeguard Harry's reputation during his youth, was the ultimate beneficiary of his efforts to expose historical silences. By pursuing litigation against the Daily Mail and Mail on Sunday, the Duke's team asserted, Harry was serving the interests of the monarchy, and therefore the Crown should assume financial responsibility. Leaked details from the Royal Treasury underscored the extent to which Harry's demand disconnected from reality. The Sherborne factor alone accounted for $15 million, covering multi-year retainers for David Sherborne and a cadre of researchers whose thousands of hours combing archives yielded evidence that was later declared fraudulent. The A&L Indemnity Fund, $12 million, preemptively sought reimbursement for anticipated legal costs. The honour restoration surcharge of $10 million reflected a subjective calculation of Harry's time defending the Windsor name. Private security logistics, chartered jets and 24/7 armed protection during UK visits totaled $5 million, despite the Home Office having stripped official coverage. Finally, an opportunity cost and income gap of $17 million claimed compensation for lost potential deals in Hollywood, effectively asking the Crown to underwrite failed commercial ventures. The response from King Charles III arrived within hours. Returning from Northwood in a carefully timed visit that ensured no personal appeals could be made, the King issued a statement that was both firm and strategic. While he remains a father, Charles's first duty is to the Crown. A senior palace official explained that private legal crusades by non-working royals, conducted against Crown advice, are the sole responsibility of the individual. Expecting public funds to subsidise what the King described as a suicide mission built on questionable evidence was both legally baseless and morally indefensible. Charles' use of the phrase suicide mission, drawn from Harry's own words in Spare, was a pointed acknowledgement of the palace's awareness of Burroughs' defection and the exposure of falsified evidence. It signalled clearly that no fraud, however dramatic, would be financed. Harry's desperate attempt to shift financial responsibility to his father underscored the magnitude of his personal and professional collapse. Reports from Montecito indicate that Harry faces a profound liquidity crisis, with his spare royalties largely expended on a $14 million mansion and a $2 million annual security detail. Netflix and Spotify deals have either expired or underperformed. The once-anticipated settlement from Associated Newspapers never materialised, replaced instead by a $10 million debt to his legal adversaries. The humiliation was compounded by the contrast between Harry's public bravado and private desperation. Just days earlier, he had confidently declared that victory was inevitable and that he would change the landscape of British media. The dramatic pivot from public triumphalism to private financial pleading, epitomised by the $59 million demand, shattered what remained of his credibility by the afternoon of March 4th, 2026. The palace's rejection was decisive, and it was made clear that any further attempts to solicit funds via legal channels would trigger a countersuit for vexatious litigation. The message to Harry was clear: you are on your own. The price of your truth is yours alone to pay. A second, more intimate shock reverberated through the Duke's remaining social connections. For years, Princesses Beatrice and Eugenie had been rumoured to serve as Harry's last bridge to the House of Windsor, the only cousins who maintained a warm, communicative relationship with the Montecito exiles. Their potential role as mediators, as last lines of familial support, has now become fraught and uncertain, leaving the Duke socially isolated as well as financially imperilled. The broader implications of these events continue to ripple outward. Observers note that Harry's once celebrated narrative of personal liberation and confrontation with the monarchy has now been reframed by the courts and media into a cautionary tale of hubris and miscalculation. Legal analysts argue that the consequences of Burroughs' testimony alone have reshaped public perception. The Duke's case is no longer understood merely in terms of privacy rights or journalistic ethics, but as a stark warning about the dangers of overreaching ambition and the perils of relying on questionable allies. Insiders suggest that the cumulative effect of these events could define Harry's public image for years, perhaps decades. Whereas his previous media ventures relied on charm, storytelling, and royal curiosity, this unfolding legal and financial disaster has exposed vulnerabilities, misjudgments, and the limitations of personal influence, even for a former senior royal. The loss of Burroughs, the dismissal of espionage claims, the towering debt, and the failed attempt to secure Crown support collectively constitute a crisis of unprecedented scale for any member of the modern monarchy. For now, the narrative across London, Montecito, and international media outlets is unmistakable. Harry's personal and legal ambitions have collided with reality in the most dramatic fashion possible. The fallout is as much about public perception as it is about the cold calculations of money and legal liability. Every headline, every news segment, every social media post reinforces a story of self-destruction, ambition unchecked, and alliances betrayed. And in the midst of all this turmoil, one enduring truth remains. For years, Princess Beatrice and Eugenie were whispered to be Harry's last bridge to the House of Windsor, the only cousins who maintained a warm, communicative relationship with the Montecito exiles. On the afternoon of March 4th, 2026, what began as a seemingly routine rejection of Prince Harry's financial claim quickly spiraled into one of the most consequential family crises the British monarchy had faced in decades. King Charles III's cold dismissal of Harry's $59 million invoice did more than merely refuse a request. It illuminated hidden fissures within the royal family that had quietly deepened over the years, casting long shadows over relationships that were once assumed unbreakable. The public might have seen only a formal rebuff, but behind the palace walls, a far more alarming story was unfolding, one that would redefine alliances and reshape the legacy of a generation. In a revelation that stunned palace insiders, Princess Beatrice emerged as a whistleblower. Her disclosures, confirmed by King Charles through senior aides, revealed that the Crown's hardened response had been informed by internal intelligence originating from within the family itself. Beatrice had handed a digital dossier to the King's private secretary, comprising a series of encrypted messages and emails that exposed a covert alliance between Prince Harry and his disgraced uncle, Prince Andrew. Known as the Beatrice dossier, these documents detailed a meticulously calculated retaliation plan dating back to late 2025, crafted to challenge the King's authority and pressure the monarchy into concessions. The dossier painted a picture of two royals, Harry and Andrew, who, feeling isolated and undermined by the King's streamlining of the monarchy, had allegedly synchronized their legal and media strategies. Their objective, according to the leaks, was to create a coordinated onslaught of scandals capable of overwhelming the palace communications apparatus. The ultimate goal was to secure repayment of Harry's legal debts and restore Andrew's security and royal status. Beatrice's intervention, however, was not motivated by spite or personal animosity. Rather, it was a calculated act of self-preservation, spurred by a clear-eyed recognition of the danger posed to her and her sister, Princess Eugenie, by continued association with Harry's high-risk manoeuvring. The timing was critical. The arrest of Prince Andrew on February 19th, 2026, in connection with newly unsealed Epstein-related misconduct files, left the York sisters confronting both professional peril and social isolation. Beatrice recognized that shielding Harry's covert alliance with her father would tether the sisters to a failing strategy, putting their own reputations and security at risk. The communications revealed that Harry had urged Andrew to resist vacating Royal Lodge, promising that victory in his case against the Daily Mail would provide both moral leverage and the financial resources necessary for Andrew's legal resurrection. Yet, the collapse of Harry's case at the Royal Courts of Justice, coupled with Sarah Ferguson's forced closure of Sarah's trust on February 3rd, 2026, had left this war chest entirely empty. With the writing unmistakably on the wall, Beatrice acted decisively. Harry's suicide mission, as it would come to be known, threatened to drag the entire York family into disaster. By submitting the dossier to King Charles, Beatrice effectively decoupled herself and Eugenie from Harry's collapsing plans. The palace, armed with this intelligence, responded swiftly. Princess Anne, acting with the authority delegated by the King, accelerated the eviction of the Yorks from Royal Lodge. What had once been a symbol of stubborn resistance, 3 zero-room mansion, was now undergoing a complete transformation, repurposed into a secure residence for working members of the royal family, including Prince Edward and Duchess Sophie. For Harry, the consequences were as personal as they were strategic. The Beatrice betrayal inflicted a psychological blow from which he might never fully recover. Relied upon to act as his eyes and ears within the palace, the York cousins had, in effect, become informants, documenting his retaliation plans and handing them directly to the king. In response, Charles left Harry in an enforced isolation, severing his access to both familial support and trusted allies. Across the Atlantic, in Montecito, the shockwaves of this revelation were equally devastating. The awareness that the palace had monitored Harry's clandestine operations for months triggered a complete communications blackout within his camp. No longer merely a spare, Harry was now perceived as a leaker who had been outmaneuvered by his own cousin. Beatrice's defection effectively dismantled the York-Sussex alliance. As she and Eugenie sought to reconcile with the King and Prince William to secure their children's futures, Harry was left exposed on a global stage. His secret plans laid bare, finances in turmoil, and family ties severed. He faced unprecedented isolation. The legal and royal structures in London methodically dismantled his credibility. Yet another layer of complexity was unfolding behind the reinforced gates of the Sussex estate in California. News of the $59 million invoice rejection and the Beatrice betrayal reached Montecito, placing Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, at a critical crossroads. The strategic calculation shifted for Meghan. The partnership that had once framed Harry and Meghan as a united front against perceived adversaries transformed into a professional necessity. She had to distance herself from Harry's escalating financial and reputational liabilities. Industry insiders in Hollywood and Silicon Valley reported the execution of a deliberate and meticulously designed brand decoupling strategy by Meghan's high-powered PR and legal teams. The strategy, both simple and ruthless, sought to insulate her ventures from Harry's toxic litigation, ensuring that her lifestyle brand, American Riviera Orchard, and her separate production deals remained untouched as Harry's privacy case entered self-destruct mode. Meghan's moves were multifaceted. They included signaling to global investors that she was no longer a passive participant in Harry's high-stakes legal and financial conflicts. A looming $10 to $12 million liability in US courts made it imperative for Meghan to protect her own earnings. The $59 million invoice Harry sent to King Charles was interpreted by Meghan's advisors as an act of desperation, confirming that Harry was no longer a commercially viable partner. Observers noted that during the most critical week of the trial, including the revelations surrounding Gavin Burrows's forged evidence, Meghan was conspicuously absent from Harry's side. Unlike previous court appearances, characterized by public unity and hand-holding, Harry was left alone to pace the halls of the royal courts of justice. Meghan, meanwhile, attended high-profile business meetings in Los Angeles, focusing on wellness, empowerment, and luxury lifestyle initiatives, projects far removed from the paranoia-fueled battle against the British tabloids. This was more than a change in schedule. It was a deliberate rebranding. By distancing herself from the angry prince narrative, Meghan aimed to preserve her global influence while protecting her financial and professional future. The fallout from Beatrice's disclosure was equally significant in social terms. Meghan, who had previously relied on the York sisters as her palace insiders, suddenly found herself cut off from British aristocratic circles. The dossier had exposed not just Harry's plans, but the vulnerabilities of the Sussex operation itself, branding it radioactive in Hollywood, where connections to royalty had once conferred prestige. Agencies reportedly advised Meghan to focus on her personal narrative and minimize references to the royal family entirely. The legal drama reached its climax in March 2026. Mr. Justice Nicklin was expected to deliver a verdict that reflected the collapse of Harry's evidentiary foundation. Admissions of forged documents by Gavin Burrows, combined with testimony from Rebecca English, proving that leaks originated from Harry's own circle, left the Duke's claims in ruins. The immediate financial consequences were staggering. Legal costs and fees approached $30 million, surpassing Harry's liquid net worth. King Charles's explicit labeling of the lawsuit as a suicide mission ensured no financial rescue would be forthcoming. The monarchy, in turn, acted decisively. Prince Edward and Duchess Sophie assumed responsibilities once managed by Harry, while Royal Lodge was repurposed. The York-Sussex axis of power was dismantled, replaced by a streamlined core centered around Prince William and Catherine. For Harry, the human cost was profound. Once celebrated and popular, he faced isolation, financial ruin, and public scrutiny. In the United States, the brand he and Meghan had built suffered terminal damage, with Meghan's strategic decoupling leaving Harry alone, a duke of debts with only grievances left to his name. The events leading to late March 2026 underscore the dangers of hubris and miscalculation. Harry's reliance on secret alliances, forged evidence, and legal overreach transformed privilege into vulnerability. Despite his royal title, he faced a fate indistinguishable from that of an ordinary citizen confronting the consequences of their choices. Meghan Markle's protective distancing preserved her autonomy, but Harry's decisions left him exposed, facing reality without allies or recourse. Ultimately, Harry sought the truth, but it was not the truth he desired. It was not the Daily Mail that destroyed him. His own choices, secretive alliances, and detachment from reality led to his downfall. The Duke of Sussex remains a prince by title, but in every other sense, he is now a commoner confronting the very common reality of his own making. If you found this inside Look at the Royal Family compelling and want to stay updated on the continuing drama and behind-the-scenes developments, make sure to like this video, leave a comment sharing your thoughts, and subscribe for more exclusive insights, analysis, and updates from the world's most scrutinized